to see all that I can be. Those things that will grow.
Oh my gosh. So first of all, I'm gonna get into the whole who is my guest today. But before I get into her official, powerful, mighty background and bio, I'm gonna just tell how I met you and what I call her. So it was a year ago, literally almost a year and a month. November of 2024, I attended my very first National Women's Studies Association conference. And I was a presenter, and it just was so, first of all, it's so much dope Black girl magic, like, for real. It was, it's for everybody. Everybody was there, but I mean, it was just so powerful to see us in that space, and you in that space. And so we attended a workshop that was presented by your colleagues. Yes, it was a tribute to her, actually.
Yes.
And her students were putting this on.
Yes.
And one of the exercises was a where I'm from poem. And we, myself and another friend, a really close friend of mine, Dr. Teresa Robinson, she did her poem, and it was all about where she was from. And you could tell we were talking about Chicago. And a voice out of the audience said, all's well. And we was like, who said that?
And I got on red today. I am not that.
They gonna know as soon as I say where you from anyway. They was like, girl, we was like, who said that? And she gotta be from Chicago, whoever said that. And sure enough, not only are you from Chicago, you are my fellow light-skinned, low-end warrior sister.
Period.
So not only are you from Chicago, you're from the low end, from Bronxville.
From Kenwood, Oakland.
And so it was that, as soon as she said where she was from, we started exchanging information. Come to find out, we were both mutual followers of one another on Instagram and social media. And all of that to say, I finally got the Dr. Sheri in the building with me. And we did a collaborative partnership this summer. There's so much more coming. But today I have you as my guest for this episode of Move Beyond the Block. And the conversation is going to be all about Black girlhood, Black womanhood, space and relationship to culture, cultural producers, and really just generating wisdom and knowledge from a Black woman's perspective. But let me just tell y'all a little bit about who this phenomenal woman is. Y'all check out her hat.
Will has a shop out of Boxville on 51st. I love Will is aspiring, already making it happen, fashion designing that I love and admire. So anytime I get to wear his hat and represent his work,
I love it.
Shout out to Will.
We'll be supporting.
Go to Boxville. His amazing look, he is still there, the maker space. And he is a fashion visionary.
Okay, we'll be supporting Will. But for now, we're going to tell y'all about who Dr. Sheri is. Dr. Sheri is an assistant professor in the African Studies Department. But since then, you've gotten a promotion. So you are?
I am associate chair and director of community culture and connectivity.
In addition to that.
In addition to being
professor.
Assistant professor.
She's received her doctorate in educational policy studies and organizational leadership with a graduate certificate in gender and women's studies from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. As a Black girlhood scholar, Dr. Lewis incorporates arts-based research as creative interventions to magnify Black girls as cultural producers. A native of Chicago's South Side, the low end specifically, Dr. Lewis is a passionate advocate for social justice and Black girl advocacy. She earned her undergraduate degree in gender and women's study and completed both her Master's of Arts and doctorate from the same place, the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. During her time there, she worked closely with the Black Girlhood Collective, Saving Our Lives, Here Are Truths, So Hot, supporting African-American teen girls in literacy, self-efficacy, and social development. In 2016, Dr. Lewis co-founded Melttt with former team participants Rachel Gadsden and Ashley Battle. Wait, Rachel,
Really?
I had learn something new. Okay, we got to talk about that. I had no idea.
They supported Melttt. Yeah.
And Ashley Battle, a contributing author to the Black Girlhood Studies collection. She foregrounds Black girl studies, stories, and lived experiences through Melttt magazine, which she also positions as a creative platform and research methodology. As executive director, her mission is to generate resources, opportunities, and access for Black girls to be seen, heard, and valued. She currently teaches Black feminisms, past, present, and future, and communities and actions. Wow. You are here. I'm so excited. So now there's another degree to this. So Rachel Gatson, you said that. So from this bio, she kind of helped in the foundation.
So Melttt, I started working, I took a Black Girlhood Studies course at the University of Illinois under Ruth Nicole Brown, and I was one of the main organizers and facilitators, developers in Soul High. And then I carried that education into my work with Melttt. So Melttt started, so my neighbor actually was working with After School Matters and was like, I work with girls. I was coming home to Chicago and I was like, I want to be in a space with girls. So he was like, oh, you come to Phillips High School. And it was just really the being with girls. Like, just my mission is always one with girls is what's important to them. How do I learn from them in order to support their needs, dreams, and desires? Like, so let's just hang out, homegirl, right? So homegirl is a practice that we theorized and orchestrated and lived and embodied in So Hot. So homegirl is us being together, right? Talking about our lived experiences, talking about taboo topics, right? It's the sisterhood and being together unapologetically, right? Like how we show up. So I carried that philosophy and way of being in Phillips, and I had no research agenda. It was like, what's up? Like, what y'all talking about? What's important to y'all? And I was like, we've been together. We've had so many incredible conversations. We should do something. But I didn't want to necessarily do a play or type of assembly or I don't know. It's like, I don't know, we should do something creative. So Rachel Gaston and I actually have a mutual best friend. And I asked my best friend, like, I want to do something cool. She was like, oh, talk to Rachel. And so I had known Rachel for years. And Rachel actually designed the first magazine. Wow. She did the graphic design for that, and Ashley Battle took the photos. And I met Ashley through Rachel, and Ashley took the photos of Melttt magazine. And that was just our culminating project. And we just went back and forth. And I was like, no shade to Black Girl Magic, but I'm not team Black Girl Magic all the time. Because I am very anti-empowerment. I think that's why you and I vibe so much in our approach to Black girlhood. And so I didn't want to go about it where like, I am still empowered into you, right? Yeah. Like, I just don't do that, right? Operate with the girls they already have their own power. I try to hear from that language. So I was like, y'all have discussed some very powerful stories that typically don't get its light, right? And so I called on my fellow creators, and it was Rachel and Ashley, and they helped to develop it. And so Rachel actually had the idea. She said, we should celebrate this. And I said, no, we should just keep it small. She's like, no, like, this is cool. We should celebrate it. She said, okay. So I connected with the Oakwood Community Center in Kenwood, Oakland. And I was like, we just don't have like a small celebration. Girl, it was 200 people that showed up to that launch event. And so then that's when we officially partnered with After School Matters. And After School Matters and Oakwood Community Center Shores. And so, yeah, and that's the story of how Melttt came to be. And we just, I wrote my dissertation on it, and it was the most beautiful project I've ever written in my life. I'm so thankful for the girls and boys at Phillips High School. They're grown now. So this all happened in 26. So
10 years ago.
yes, 2016. And I'm so grateful for them for trusting me and allowing me to be creative with them and sharing their brilliance and imparting their brilliance on me. Like I've learned so much. And also I have a paper coming out about our process in making magazines. And so, yeah, so I just, with the encouragement, support, and inspiration from the girls and boys that I've worked with, we developed Melttt methodology as a approach to research, collecting data. And so from Phillips, we moved into other schools. So I started working with Kenwood, Williams Prep at the time, Whitney Young. Who am I missing? Who am I missing? I'm missing. But we just, all of us came together. I am going to backtrack because I missed this. So the Melttt is not necessarily an acronym. When we were at Phillips, we were going, so I'm going to backtrack because this is a major part. So we were just going back and forth, and I was like, don't name it Black Girl Magic, y'all. Like, let's just get at a rest. And so I was like, but BS Cribs. So they was like going back and forth. And one girl, shout out to Miss Destiny. I hope that she see this video. Miss Destiny, who she doesn't speak that much in the space. And I remember she was braiding someone's hair or playing in the girl's hair while we all sitting around trying to figure it out. And she was just like, let's just name it Melttt. And we was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And I was like, well, why Melttt? And she was like, because we're all diverse. And when we come here, we just melt together. I said, oh my God, you are a genius. That's the name of it. So Miss Destiny named Melttt magazine.
And I love that too, because we talk about generating knowledge and we talk about, when people say Black Girl Magic, most times they're talking about, the whole talented tip kind of thing. You got to be this exceptional, straight A, refined, fitting into this European standard with Black on it, right? But we know Black Girl Magic is the infinite, like the intrinsic power that we are born with because we're Black. Just simple and plain. Like our hair is technology, our way of speaking is rhythm, like everything about us. And we're alchemists. So when we say, for me, when I say Black Girl Magic, it's that inherent stuff that we already have that we add to it. So I love that they can name for themselves. I got gum in my mouth. But they can name themselves for themselves and they can name their spaces. And not many people give them that liberation and that freedom to do it. So yeah.
We cracked the universe with that one. And we all was like, yes. I was like, okay, so we gonna have a photo shoot. We just got into it. And then it grew from there, right? After School Matters is very important to this city because it provided resources. It helped to pay us, pay the young people, which is important. The young people wrote an article about how, they're at that age where they need their own money, but they can't get a job because they're not old enough and no one's hiring or saying that they don't have the experience. And of course, how can I get the experience if you don't give me a job? So, so After School Matters, I would say is a very important program here in the city. We need more like it. It gave Melttt its platform to grow. And while Melttt Melttt has evolved to other things that I've done, but that's its sort of origin story.
Yeah, I love it. I love all that you have done, and I love the fact that, yes, you are academia. Yes, you are, entrenched in that world. But I love the fact that you understand like how the principles that are necessary for our girls to fully become themselves, to fully realize themselves. It's not all theory. There's a lot of practical things that you do. And you talked about going into the schools and doing Melttt magazine, but you have done so much dopeness. Talk about that. First of all, talk about your approach and why. I mean, you talked about it a little bit, but like what happens when girls don't, when it's been the opposite way traditionally, how we have girls teaching them etiquette, how to talk, how to speak, how to dress. Like, what happens in that? What's the difference in what happens when you allow girls to be their own source of power? Touch on that first.
Absolutely. The difference, I would say, it gives them permission to know themselves. It gives them permission to embrace complexities and contradictions that we all live with as human beings. It centers their full humanity. Well, I can make a mistake.
Yes, we're not perfect. We ain't gonna be
I
perfect.
can't say that thing so that I can process, right, other things that may be bothering me. I can be creative. Creativity is at the crux of everything I do. And we know creativity is trial and error, right? And sometimes the cutest thing is something, or the dopest project is because you made a mistake. Right? It came out of a damn mess. And I think that, right, while I understand where was the origins of respectability politics, it was to protect us. And I operate within respectability politics myself, right? Like, it is a way to protect us, right? It is tied to integrity. It is still tied to collectivity, right? Like, we move and operate as one. We have respect for ourselves and each other. So I don't completely tear down respectability politics, because it is it's a tool, right? Of organizing. It's a tool that has protected us. And, right, there's nuance. We can hold contradictions. And at the same time, we use that as a tool, right, of power and dominance. And because it's so ingrained in how we were raised and what we were taught. And then as adults, right, we get to a point where we like, all right, if we want to get this job, if we got to put this space on, we got to network in this way. And because we know that, we want to instill that in them. And sometimes our act to protect them actually dehumanizes them and takes away their freedom, because it doesn't allow them to create spaces and worlds for them. And we don't. And there's a thing around trust. We assume that young people just trust us because we Black, right? Because they know because I'm cool. Everybody said I'm cool. We assume that young people just don't trust you. They don't know you, right? And so, you come in through the door. I always make fun of, when we had those assemblies, and then it was this motivational speaker, probably some businessman or businesswoman that came in and told you, look to your left, look to your, some of y'all not gonna be here.
Yes.
And I used to be one of the girls like, girl, I don't even want to do that anyway. Like, I don't want to do that. So, we come in with that as adults, like, let me tell you, get the young people with that. No, young people, we have a lot to learn from them. It's so much power and beauty and infinite possibilities and youthfulness. So that was a long-winded response. That's what I feel like the difference is. And most importantly, a lot of times why we perform adults the way we do is because we don't want to be vulnerable. And you got to be vulnerable when you working with young people, especially when you expecting them to trust you and you want them to be vulnerable. And as adults, we don't want to do that.
And when you want them to believe that they can do something. I used Dr. King for the longest time. Dr. King was put up as this perfect model for us about civil rights and what we attained to be. And it was like Dr. King was this straight and narrow person, and he was perfect. He was like this great, nonviolent, just perfect man. And it was when people found out, no, this was a resistor. Like, he'd have flaws that I could possibly I could reach that. Right. But if you all the way up there and you telling me because I'm not this, this perfection of humanity that I can't aspire to be. What am I listening to? What we talking about, right? And I think what you were saying about respectability, the way you described it, is that's when it's used as a tool for building and developing versus a weapon for tearing down and being a gatekeeper.
Yeah, and being divisive, measuring you to look like, like white supremacy is air.
Yeah, baby. Say that again.
It's all around us. It's everywhere.
It shakes everything about us.
Correct. And because of that, we have to do deep-seated ancestral work.
Yes. So much to dismantle, so much to reject, so much to acknowledge, first of all, because a lot of us would love to walk around and believe that we've arrived, but we've not. You know, we can put up a dashiki or black fist and say we about it, but you know, your practice, your philosophy, we engage with other people says exactly the different than that. So thank you for that. I think we kind of talking about this, but because I really wanted to dive into more safe spaces, and we'll come back around to it. You touched on all of this stuff. Like you beat me to my questions. This is a good one. You know, we said we create spaces for girls to be safe and seen and felt and to contribute to. How do we ensure that girls, because we know that they will come in a room, if they haven't, they have to be taught this stuff. They haven't, they'll come in a room and they'll let other people take up the space or the space, the way that they feel they have to take up the space to be disruptive or adjusting to what's going on to the circle, right? They may be loud talking, cursing, just doing all kinds of stuff, not being fully contributing. How do we and let me just
acting bad.
Let me make that
they acting bad.
Just be
acting bad.
Yes. So how do we make sure that when they come into the space, they understand that this is healing work? I'll give you an example. I just did a workshop for a group of girls who are just as involved in system impacted. I think they have some issues. And it could be abuse, it could be anything, foster children, as well as those who have been, who have done some justice time or whatever. And this little girl, it was a table of them, first of all. I mean, a whole table. It's probably 25 girls in this table of 6. Baby was giving me the business. And one little girl raised her hand. She's like, I thought this was about empowerment. Why are we talking about social media? This ain't women's empowerment. Last time they was talking to us about something. I mean, they were just going on and on and on. At the end, they had a exercise to do where they were making these rocks, these peace rocks, where they had to write a word that they wanted to feel, and then decorate it. And if they want to feel loved, they want to feel like they belong, if they want to feel safe, they write the word. So I just, I gave them their space because, they want the confrontation. Girl, we're not gonna do that.
They do.
And so I went back over there and sure, just like I knew, not to say nobody else's wasn't pretty, but they had the most creative rocks.
Of course.
Of anybody.
Of course.
And I was like, how I know this table was gonna have the most creative rocks, right? So now she blushing and all this, right? And what's your name? So they go around and I'm like, and these names, like, come on. I mean, names, beautiful names. Journey and Jordan and Emeria and Micaiah, just some beautiful names. I'm like, the creativity over here is just dripping off of y'all, right? And so you gonna come back. Now you just gave me the business all day, right? So how do we make sure? Because it's a special gift. Everybody don't have that. Because some people would have left them over there and just like, please let this be over so they can get gone. How we make sure there's a space that everybody feels that they can contribute positively to, and stop acting bad.
Well, I think what you did was the answer, to be honest. Like, I guess you got the answer. What was your method in moving from, like, what, say more about that? How you move from her challenging you to...
I just didn't feed into it because I know that's what she wanted. And I know that if I fed into it, it would give her more fuel because I was her. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, first of all, that's the first thing I do is remember myself and not like remember the me of yesterday and not the me today and know like, okay, she obviously needs some attention. That's number one. The type of attention she needs, is that going to get me to be able to do what I need to do? And is it really going to get her what she really needed in this moment? So I have to check that. Then I ask more questions than give answers. So making them, so when you say, I thought we was finna have women's empowerment in here. Well, what makes you feel empowered? She didn't have an answer for that. Of course she didn't, because she don't even have the concept of what empowerment is. But now you don't have the edge on I got you. Now you gotta sit back and you gotta reflect. So ask more questions than I do give answers. Turn those sneaky, snarky remarks into reflective questions. So another example was I called her the wrong name. Her name was Jordan. I don't know what I called her. It wasn't Jordan. And she's like, that's not even my name. How you calling me? How you call me that? That ain't my name. I said, well, what is your name? Right. I said, well, how about this? It's my first day meeting you. Do you know my name? I said, oh, you don't know my name either. I said, so instead of me getting mad at you for not knowing my name, if I wanted to know my name, I would tell you, hi, I'm Lakeisha. That's my name. And if somebody says it wrong, I will say, no, that's not how you pronounce my name. I said, when you want someone to notice you and know you, you don't get mad because they don't. You just announce yourself a little louder. And she's like, I said, so okay, Jordan. Now she's smiling. So I make sure, first of all, you're not gonna talk crazy to me, because we can both be crazy. I say it in a way that is more reflective, like let me question myself, then try to make a spectacle. And then also, as we're having that interaction, I noticed the other ones paying attention, right? I noticed that they not cracking no jokes no more. They watching. So that's it. And I think it's mostly.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why Lakeisha is that girl. And keep giving her these coins, this grant. That's why she's my big sis. That's why I love her. That's why she's doing the Black Girlhood studies, right? The Black Girlhood work right in Chicago.
Right, but that's what I know. Like you've been able to do it in different spaces. Academically, you've been able to come back home and do it in the streets. Like you're able to do it, and we know that it don't always end like that. We also know that.
Oh no.
So what do we need to do to make sure that even if that child in that moment cannot get it right, because sometimes it'll take eight sessions. Sometimes it take 12 sessions. Sometimes it be 2 years and they come back and they like, I had your class and then yeah.
I mean, I think that's the answer. I would say sometimes it's not, for me, it's not a making sure, I would say. It's a just showing up and being consistent. There's power in repetition. So when you know that something is consistent, I mean, it's kind of like dating. If they keep showing up, taking you out, answering the phone, being kind, you like, okay, that's the one. Even though you may crash out one day or have a bad mood or say something crazy, and they like, it's okay. And like, I think, I don't think it's the making sure those who want to be there are going to be there, and those sometimes it's just not for you. Like, not all Black girl-centered spaces are going to be a space for all girls, right? For all those who identify girls. I mean, there's been some boys that show up in our space, and not always because they are queer identifying boys, but because they just felt the safeness, the vibes of the space. And shout out to Dr. Deal, who said, Sheri, you're a space maker. And I have always been invested in space and thinking deeply about what space means, how it operates, how it's oriented, from the colors, the lighting, the feel, the smells, the sensory, what rituals and practices you have. This is real dirty work. This is real deep work. So how am I showing up? What do I want people to feel and be how do I want people to be remembered by? Not so much as like, let me show what my curriculum and my program agenda, because you can come there. I've come with, oh, this is gonna be dope. And we doing hip hop feminism, and I'm gonna teach them. And they're like, I don't care nothing about what that we're talking about. Boom. Okay, out of there. Gotta pivot what we want to talk about. And actually what they want to talk about was way more cooler than what I brought in, but being open and vulnerable and learning from that. Like, okay, so the girls is into now the educator in me is, how do I insert, right, what I know foundational, right? At the end of the day, they have to have critical thinking skills, right? Right there, communication. There, I think so. How do I incorporate that creatively while also centering their own sense of agency, right? And so I'm not going to put all my recipes out on table, right? We got to practice a little bit of some marinade around here. No. But if you want these recipes, come holler at your girl. Read my work. Put me in your Zoom calls. But panels. Put me on panels, right? Want some of these recipes.
Hire as a consultant, because the coin don't have to just stay at the academy,
But I do, want to make sure that in this work, right, like Harry and Tubman undergrad, that stuff's still true. And we have these big corporations in Chicago, and shout out to our mayor who's like, no, we need to tax these people. But we have to start handling this community, this work of community care with
subversively.
Yes, we have to, it has to be underground. We got to hold on to a lot of our recipes and ingredients in a way it's not for everybody. This work is sacred. This work is a lineage. This is some underground real. Some of it has to be.
It is.
And I get it, right? Capitalism has us in a space. We have to get these grants. The grants have instructions, and it does not always align with the work that our practices. And in part, it's because of who they put on the board of these grants. We know grants are very much so tied to folks who are very wealthy, right? Who anti-Black, right? Whose race, like money is rooted in the transatlantic slave trade, loan money, right? We know a lot of the funders, right, come from that. And so it's definitely a slippery slope, because you gotta perform and say certain things to get to the bag and get your bag, right? Because capitalism is real. And at the same time, there's a special practice, there's a way you gotta start a pot. It's the way that it's the things that you have to do for yourself, the soul searching you have to do for yourself that is ongoing. It is being vulnerable in community. All of that, right, plays out into how you shape your space, and when girls in particular come to the space, what happens, the outcome of that, right? Everybody can't work with young people, and that's okay, because we all don't need to be doing the same thing. And I know, right, especially in a major city, working with young people appears to be easier. You probably could get funding quicker, right? It gives you a sense of self-efficacy, right? It gives you that external gratification to working with young people. We know in Chicago that's very prevalent. That's an ego thing. Like, we love saying that, but then their curriculum is very, to me, it's all about, I'm giving you something.
Punitive, transactional,
disciplinary, yes.
Very in the moment. Is not really about the change for the collective. It's individual.
It's quantitative for sure. It's definitely giving a control group and a treatment group. And we're letting,
sometimes they look just like us. Most times they look like
yes. And I'm gonna say this. And we're letting researchers come into our space without an institutional review board, IRB, paper, the students don't have a consent form or a assent form.
And we giving the power away, and we're not allowing the students to be themselves, the
Correct.
researcher. Like,
We're not informing the parents on what this research means.
where is it gonna be used? How it's gonna be used?
Correct.
No protection.
And that data is being used, right, towards prison pipelines. And so,
Maternal health,
correct.
medical health.
So we got to be conscious of that when we do our work. And mind you, a lot of the research is tied to grants. Because of course, right? Like, man, we want this data, we're going to give you $1 million or we're going to give you $50,000. And that could help you get all the resources, equipment, materials, pay people. And we need that. But we got to be very conscious of that. Now, I do want, like, one of my dreams
Going to my next question.
is I do want like social justice centered educators, researchers, educators that are in the schools, community organized. Like, we have to come together and talk and be in dialogue about, for example, a lot of teachers don't know what pedagogy means. Use pedagogy rampant in education, right? There's a lot of educational researchers who've never been in the classroom before, right? And so we have to talk to each other, be in community, create spaces. I would even say, and you could just say inspired by sharing when you do this. If you are thinking about what type of grant, what type of call for proposal, where can I put money? I would encourage somebody who have money to create a call for proposal for folks to create a space where all these folks, researchers, educators, come together and have a series of dialogue. Like, what does the IRB mean? It looks like, for example, right? Like, when we say pedagogy, that's what we mean. Like, a gathering, a convening where folks are learning each other languages, right? And we know everybody can't go into the classroom with good reason, right? Protection of the students, the background check. Like, it's a lot of red taping with CPS. But what would it look like if we came together? And this could already happen. Like, people are like, yeah, they have. I'm sure you're gonna name off all of the institutes, all of the conferences, all of the Zoom meetings, educator conferences that happen all the time. You know, to say, Dr. Lewis, we have ARA, or we have this. I'm talking specifically in Chicago, where we are having conversations, and this could be happening. So if it is,
It's not.
keep it ongoing. But if someone want to put some resources behind us having conversations, what is educational policy? What does that mean for a teacher? And the teacher is part of that conversation. What is organizational leadership? And what does that mean for you as an exec director? What does it mean if I have the desire to start a Black girl-centered organization, right? Like, what sort of theories and that I need to engage with as I start this work? Can you come look at my curriculum? How can I determine if my curriculum is punitive or this? But I guarantee you, people are not going to say, well, this is punitive. I mean, you probably can look at it and give an analysis and be like, but how do they know, right? So that would be something a project that I think that folks who have access to resources to put folks together to have these intersectional conversations.
So we can all do assessments, we can analyze, we can better our models. We can even name a model. Some, like you said, it's almost like, I think about recycling. You know, grandma was recycling for years. Nobody can tell her like it's conservation. Nobody said that word recycling. They just said, use that old grease that was already in there, don't waste it.
Correct.
So just being able to have give people that powerful, that tool of language.
We need Black venture capitalists that want to support the community, that believe in social justice, right? They still a capitalist, they still a business person, it's a businessman, we get it. But they need to be a part of these spaces because they have the resources. So what does real estate mean? Right? How do I get access to real estate? What does it mean if the building is like we land, right? We need all of the venture capitalists who are very deeply invested. Like, I love Black folks venture capitalists, right? Like, sometimes these people, they don't know where to give, right? They get told where to give and then they give, but they're gonna want a ROI, right?
A connection.
And a connection. But how can I'm just dreaming, right? Like, how can we put these folks in a room? Because not all venture capitalists needs to be in our space, but there is something about learning about the ways in which capitalism moves, shapes, and informs.
Because it can exploit and manipulate, or it can also build, and that's the power and transform. And there are many whose intention is to build and to transform, but because of the way that the traditional way that venture capitalists have been taught is to extract and exploit.
Correct.
And I think you're saying that you envision a world where those venture capitalists are guided.
Well, I dream of a world of no capitalism. Let's be clear. But in this particular, right? I dream of a world abolish capitalism. No, I don't think that there's a good capitalism. The shit is outside. But it's all. But it's our reality, right? And to your point, I think there are people who are venture capitalists that want to do social good. And sometimes we need to just work with those people versus these larger grants that are also tied to
a whole bunch of
right and larger corporations, right? And so that's my call. My call is to those who have it and like, okay, I want to support, right? Maybe you have a small, like a $5,000 grant, but if we can move and shake things, right? And shake things out. They gonna think we have more money than we have.
And that's a lot of what girls like me is like.
And that is nothing to somebody else. They're like, oh, you can get more, but I'm not saying just give us that, but I'm just saying $5,000 for grassroots organizers like ourselves could do a lot. And so let's say if they had $5,000. Also, the process of applying for grants is so punitive and extractive, and it actually takes away from the values and practices of that grassroots organization. And I want folks I know program advisors and those who are on the boards and the committees that look at these grants. I'm sure y'all in conversation about how do we align, keep those conversations going, maybe possibly attend a space, Girls Like Me project, we'll get into the Bud, what Des and I do, and see how can you be creative with what young people need, first and foremost, and not what, I don't know,
you want to do.
the Walton family.
Yes.
But you see what I'm saying? So I'm just saying,
yes.
But I think that's important for us that if we want to, sometimes I'm a big believer of come to the space, showing up is important, but I'm getting long with it. But I just put that out because I know folks will see this and will listen. It's like, okay, what can I do? There are folks who are like, what can I do? What do I need to look at in my curriculum? How do I know that it is disciplinary or punitive, or how can I evolve it? How can I teach grassroots organizing to young girls? How do I detect these questions you asked me? How do I detect creativity or when the girls are resisting? Because we spend a lot of time around classroom management or how do I manage their behavior? And I'm sure there's so many conferences about that. And I just want us to all be in a space where we are having these intersectional conversations and dialogues versus the silos that we're in, because we are in a lot of silos. And just to reiterate, my philosophy is never what can I do to manage or what will be. I don't go in with the expectation. The expectation is of myself. Like what my expectation is the space. How do I create and cultivate a space where when young people come into that they feel it. Because you're gonna always remember how somebody made you feel. And you're gonna always remember who showed up for you, right? Who took up for you, who showed up for you. So when you come into this space, right, what do you see? What do you feel? And that means you can have instinct. You can have your say you started ritual, right? Can they want to do all of that? And then they also want to do whatever else, TikTok, braid, whatever. Have deep
Because
conversations.
women was keep your hands to yourself. You don't need to be sitting in your own seat. We know girls be lapping up all the time.
Yes.
Sitting on somebody's lap, doing hair, like
Yes.
braiding somebody's hair. Touching.
Connection.
Yes. And it's all I just know. So this leads me to your next question. I love that you did go into the whole philanthropic world because we know, unfortunately, that is how much of our work has been sustained. It's changing now. It's shifting, thank God. And just to put this out there, 5,000 is beautiful. But girls like me operates on a $1.7 billion need.
Yeah.
That's not what we have, but that's our need. That goes to all of our overhead expenses, marketing supplies, equipment, making sure each girl has transportation, making sure the space that we create has all of the things that they need. That includes all the way down to sanitary napkins and feminine products, feminine hygiene products. That includes our technology. That includes everything. So
Feeding girls.
yes,
Snacks,
feeding
food,
them,
transportation.
yes, all of the mental health things, and staff and things like that. So I just want people to know that yes, 5,000 and amounts like that, we can make it look good.
Oh, we can.
But the stress of it all
Yeah.
is why people can't sustain, because who can you hire? People work, and so nobody will be like, oh, I'm doing this out the goodness of my heart, not in a sustainable way. So that's something that we move to it. Like, yes, rents are great, but those who have that other amount to give the best gift, those are the ones we really want, just to give your gift. And you'll be surprised when you give a gift of significance, how many other people want to get on that board. I mean, get on board with that. I want to take it to two last questions. It's probably gonna be three, but I'll try. But one, I want to know, little Sheri, like little Sheri, how does little Sheri get satisfied in the work that you're doing today as Dr. Sheri?
I talk a lot, and I talked a lot when I was little Sheri, and it was a space like so hot that allowed me to run my mouth. I like to talk. Anybody that know me know they probably gonna see this and be like, she ain't lying. And so spaces that allow me to talk. I'm a little bossy. I'm a lot of bossy. I'm big mama. I'm big mama. So, spaces that allow me to show up in all my big mama-ness, my leadership, independence, my sass. I was always sassy. My 7th grade algebra teacher used to call me Sassy Sheri. He was like, Mr. Lloyd, he used to say, if you don't sit down, look Sassy Sheri, because I always was moving my head, I always had something to say. And in 1st grade, my teacher put my desk in front of her desk because she said I was too much of a social butterfly. I was talking too much. I was always mobilizing folks. I actually went to camp in Minnesota, a summer camp where we stayed in cabins for months. And funny story. So I wasn't really going to my activities. I mean, it's 8:00 in the morning in the summertime. I'm tired of getting up, going to archery, and it was fun, but I didn't want to go. So sometimes my cabin mates, they would come home and see me still laying in the bed, or we'll come back to the cabin and see me still in the bed or doing whatever I was doing. And like, white girls, you not going to yet? I was like, I ain't still like it. And so they had a protest. I don't know where these girls got it from, but one day, no, I think they found out, I don't know, maybe somebody snitched on me, but they had found out I wasn't going to my activities, so I got pulled to the office and it was like, you need to go to your activities. And I was like, okay. And I went back and told my cabinets, like, I got in trouble because I wasn't going to my activities. Like, we don't think it's fair, Sheri. So they did a whole protest. They made signs and was like, hell no, we won't go. And was marching around the cabin. And I'm on the bed cracking up laughing. I was probably like 10, 11. And I'm on the bed cracking up laughing. I was not a part of that. I didn't say nothing to these white girls. I swear to God. And I had got in trouble. They was like, you are responsible because And I was just like, I just didn't go to my activities. I was
I
minding
never
my
told them
business.
to do anything.
I never told them to do nothing. I just said, but they took me going to the office and coming back like, yeah, I had in trouble. Like, I guess my attitude, like, whatever. And they was like, well, we're not going to go, but we support you. And hell no, we won't go. And I was like, what the hell?
Now I'm the troublemaker.
Now I'm the troublemaker.
I ain't signed up for this.
Whatever. So I love spaces that just allow me to be, you know, we always got an agenda. We always got to have a curriculum. We got to have a project at the end. We got to tie something up. We got to do something. We got to have an outcome and an impact and what's the deliverables and how are we measuring this and assessing this. And I'm just like, we don't have to do that all the time. We could just be. And that is revolutionary enough, is that we are, it's in our togetherness that matters the most.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. A lot of times, because I'm a writer and I'm a presenter and I love teaching, right? You get these PowerPoints and you put together the pretty slides and you got the transition and you know, oh, they gonna love it when they do the mosaic. You know, you got it all planned. And at the end of the day, they don't give a damn. Like they want to braid hair and just talk. They want to paint a rock. They want to make a bead. They want to do that simple thing. And you think about it, like they so dysregulated anyway. We all are, right? But they don't have any tools to like just center.
And I'll give one of my recipes. So when we were at Phillips before Melttt became Melttt, one thing, because so when I was in elementary school, we had sleepovers and we was always Destiny's Child. We stayed up and watched Apollo and we did each other hair. And I was like, what if that was my pedagogical approach to space for girls. So I brought sheets and blankets and socks. And yes, and that's how we met. And at Michigan State, that's how we have some of my classes. So I bring pillows and sheets and blankets and we sit on the floor. I brought the girls socks and then arts and craft supplies and they could create their socks. And we just sat on the floor and legit just, what's up? How was y'all day? And what I found was, you know how we say, we got something to do, y'all hurry up and we only got an hour and don't nobody got time to hear about that. But we know with working with girls, when they come in, they want to talk about that fight.
That's the first thing. They gotta get it out.
They gotta get it out.
Especially if they don't see you every single day. They've been waiting.
Like, let's check in. Like sometimes venting and processing what just happened to them will prevent a fight.
Isn't that talk therapy?
No. So I guess I was doing talk therapy, but I got that from my girlhood, right? Like we learned so much and it strengthened our friendship. And we looked forward to our birthdays, but we could have a sleepover.
Yes.
And we, you know,
girls' night out and
yes. And bell hooks said, you know, gossiping is how Black women talk through their lived experiences, how they share. It's how they feel, right? And so I did that when I was at Phillips, where we would come. And honestly, one of our sessions was probably about that fight the entire time. And I didn't give no solution. It was just, bro, what happened? Tell me about it. The girls was giving each other advice and affirmations and pouring into each other and saying, girl, don't worry about it. I know you mad. And so I think we was there 3 days a week or 2 days a week. And then we come back and I was like, okay, so what happened? And it was like, either they did end up getting to a fight, but they over it, or they was like, you know what, since our conversation, I calmed down, thought about it differently. I didn't, right? And they became just so invested in the space. But that's something I carry on from my girlhood. What was valuable and meaningful to me, what kept me a community as a girl was sleepovers, was being with my homegirls. And so so I was like, well, what did we do? Okay, sleepover vibes in a school. And I know that's revolutionary because in a school where you are that type of.
At your desk.
The lights is terrible.
Outside. Don't get out house.
Everything about the floors are
that I call it institutional lighting, which I can't stand.
It's
like this doggone welfare office light. Like I can't stand. the hospital welfare office prison light. I couldn't stand it. Like,
Yeah.
soft light. Where's the lamps? And
It smell like feet. Like it just it's terrible.
It's
So
mildew. Like,
it's terrible, right? So I'm like, no, if we're going, we gotta recreate this space. This classroom.
okay, recreate. Because I had another question.
Yes.
Recreate, so I gotta go here.
Okay.
You recreated like Joe Bud Billiken down activations. Tell our listeners about the time you did. I mean, you've done so many. So tell them about all of them, but especially the Candy Lady.
Okay.
Yes.
So shout out to my brother Des, Chicago girls doing better. We always got we voting for Des for mayor. We putting him on the ticket after Brandon. And I just want to give a special shout out to Des just because Des is an angel in this city. We gotta do all we can to protect that man. The feds is probably listening now. They probably I'm with this Des. And so but he is the man. He is
and pause that right there too, because I do want to hold space for the men who with your motive, no agenda, who can be in space with women and support women and allow them to be visionary partners.
Correct. And that's who he is. He has shown me the gentleness, that gentleness and is manhood. He has shown me that listening is manhood. He is a visionary creator, master, brilliant visionary, creative conduit, catalyst, vessel.
And he's so smooth.
And just like that guy. He's that guy. And anybody that know him, it is a blessing. And I want to give him his flowers because he has inspired me. And salute this. He held my dreams delicately, and we dream together. And so I just want to make sure that I shout him out and give him, because we do this work together. So I'm so excited. So Melttt is a methodology, and so Melttt as a methodology is an interactive and engaging way to collect data on Black girls' lived experiences. So it's going to always be immersive, and it is about I do the work with girls. Very similar to youth participatory action research. The only difference is that the girls, youth participants don't come up with the research questions, but they are involved in every other aspect of the research. So that's Melttt methodology. So we had Melttt magazine, Melttt methodology, and so
how many issues of Melttt magazine have you done so far?
3 and 1 is unreleased. So technically 4. So Candy Lady came. So Des and I connected and collaborated. Cameo King, that's my homegirl in Lansing, Michigan. She is an executive director of Grit, Glam, and Guts, the Black Girl Sister organization. She is amazing. And we partnered together, Grit, Glam, and Gut. In Lansing, Michigan. She curates Black Girl Day of Play in Lansing, Michigan, every year in the summer in Lansing. And so she said, I would like for you to come to Black Girl Day of Play and do you. She's like, do you, Sheri? I said, because don't tell me to do me. Say less. So I said, Des, because Des and I was trying to figure out, knew we wanted to work together. But we was like, okay, what can we do? I'm trying to think, did we do? Yes, we did Chicago Street Portraits first before Candy Lady, but we're going to get into that second, Chicago Street Portraits. So Candy Lady came about, Des and I were just ideating, and he was like, what if we pay homage to the neighborhood Candy Lady, because she was so important to youth, our childhood, and our upbringing. Everybody went to the Candy Lady house. And I said, oh my God, that's such a good idea. And it's so intergenerational. Like, I wouldn't say this younger generation, they don't really know what the Candy Lady is. So I would say maybe 30 and up would appreciate, but she was very much integral to our childhood. There was an article that just came out that was really dope about the Candy Lady. And so we worked with my colleague's husband is a carpenter. He built amazing things. So he helped us. He built a house. So we built a house from scratch and decorated the house to look like your grandma's house. And then we got so much candy and we passed it out. And it was such, and then on the side of the house, we put Black Girls Out of Inspiration. And you can see the house on the Melttt Magazine Shine Instagram page. So that was a really cool project. It was homage to the candy.
Say that again. What's the handle for
Melttt Magazine Shine is the Instagram page. So that was a project. So Candy Lady was all about, the homage to a figure, a mother-like figure who just, we learned math in the Candy Lady store. We got on our bikes and went with our friends to the Candy Lady store. It was a young lady at Black Girl Dare Play Festival who was like, my grandmother actually couldn't count. And so I had to help her. And that's how I got good at math, by helping my grandmother who was the candy lady. So Melttt has evolved into it's the public installations such as the Candy Lady. But then we had our project, the Chicago Street Portrait Series. Black Girls Are the Inspiration. And so we post up every year at the Bud Billiken Parade.
The largest, the longest Black centered, Black founded parade in the country, in the world. In the world. I will say confidently in the world. It's not carnival or festival, so we won't say that. It's a parade. The largest parade. In Bronzeville, down King Drive. Okay.
And so speaking of childhood, right? So we thought about, because we was like, okay, what can we find girls? And I was like, and Des and I was just going back to like, what was our childhood? He was like, well, our childhood was the Bud Billiken Parade. That was the space you got your fit. You had to have your fresh Air Force One. I remember I was missing. I had the little bittiest shorts on, girl. It was time to, we was outside. We was live. We was outside. You was on the low end. You was outside at the hood. You had your fresh outfit on. And so my research is magazine making, space making via public installations, Black girls, meaning and image making. So those are my focus areas. I am invested in Black girls' aesthetic as a philosophy and movement building.
I love it.
And the Bud is like that. And the Bud is a space where you're going to see the wonders of aesthetics. It's like the Bud Billiken Parade. It's like
hair, fashion, like listening to the talk, like it's crazy.
That is Chicago Fashion Week.
Yes.
Ooh, that is the Fashion Week of Chicago.
From every aspect, like from the people that's attending and walking the streets and their girl crews to the actual dance troops and dance teams that are out there, like they all
5 years later, we gonna see some celebrities at New York Fashion Week, Fashion Week, like all of the styles for Black girls.
Yes.
And so you gonna see it in media, and they not gonna run these girls that coin.
They not gonna run their coin. They gonna copy it on TikTok. It's gonna come.
So all the celebrities, you need to run Black girls that coin.
Especially y'all need to come to Chicago for real. Y'all need to come to Chicago and talent scout.
Watch all the photographers come and be taking pictures of the Black.
Y'all better. Because it's just like New Orleans culture, their masculine Indian culture, and that sort of thing, and Mardi Gras, and it's my favorite thing. I love New Orleans. The second line. It's like we have a culture, and our girls are leading like
they are leading the aesthetic.
They popping like yes. And so y'all did the street portrait.
So we do series, Chicago Street Portraits.
Girls Like Me was blessed to be a part of that this year.
So we are working with Akila, so Kills on Instagram. Akila is artistic photography goddess. I love her down. working with Ashley, Mia.
Like y'all working with the top.
We
tier.
working with them girls. Okay, so let me name them.
Yes.
Okay. So Akila, Ashley, Mia
Akilah on Instagram is
is
Kills.
Kills. Ashley,
K-I-L-S.
yep, Kills.
Okay.
And then Ashley Mia is Ashley Mia. I think it's by Ashley Mia on Instagram.
Okay.
Aaron Taylor Morgan is our director of photography. I don't want to say video, obviously, but she does the video. And Ashley, so let me go back. Ashley is so dope. Her pictures are so gentle and just so she pulls the love out. Akila is just she masters like she captures the aesthetic and like you like
Y'all, I just being a purveyor of it, I know like y'all work is when I think about like, the hip hop aesthetic that you'll see in like museums, like that's how I feel when you're going back and you're looking at the bamboo earrings and the videos from back in the 90s, that feeling that you get when you're looking at that, or at a gallery exhibit or a coffee book. It gives
So
that.
my argument is these are contemporary Gordon Park.
Wow.
Then we have our little brother who's so special is Teron. You met Teron. Teron is listen, y'all better watch out for Teron. Teron
is eager. Like he's ready. Like he's like, what's need to say? What you need to say?
Go.
Yeah.
And who else on the team? We worked with Brianna. I think Brianna has moved. She was coming out of Columbia. And so that's and then we worked with Kiko from Midwest Airbrushing, who airbrushed our backdrops. And we worked with B-Lynn. B-Lynn did our first backdrop. That's my homie. Shout out to B-Lynn. He's an artist in Chicago. And I got the backdrop. The significance of the backdrop from Jillian Hernandez is a scholar that I love and admire. She's a Black girlhood scholar. She has go read her book, Aesthetic of Excess. Aesthetic of Excess. Shout out Jillian Hernandez. And she talks about, she gave the history of the backdrop, what she's labeled as blank composition. And she goes all the way back to how like backdrops was used, in slavery when they was putting bodies in front of backdrops, and then just over time how it evolved, how Kuwait Wiley, I cannot pronounce Kuwait Wiley. Like folks is gonna talk about me because I can't pronounce nothing, but y'all know what I'm talking about. How he did his backdrop. So I was influenced by the way that Jillian Hernandez talked about the significance of the backdrop and how it's complementary to the subject, right, to the body.
I gotta pause y'all because y'all see this painting up here, right? You can hardly see it. You halfway see it, but the first thing Dr. Sheri was, she's like, we had to see she was so into the aesthetic. Go ahead.
I'm putting the frame. I wanted to learn the history of the backdrop and how it was used. And so we really got into the backdrop as another symbol as complementary to the aesthetic. And we wanted to represent, how do we represent Black girlhood alongside, right, the actual photos that we make together. And so the B-Land did our first backdrop, and then we worked with Kiko from Midwest Airbrush, so this is the setup. And so that's the team, okay? So the team, we come together. Lakeisha is now part of the team. They part of the team, and we set up the backdrop. And when you come to take a photo, you get a free custom airbrush shirt or hat because that's just part of our culture. And that's my gratitude and thank you for allowing us to make photos with you. Shout out to Andre Wagner, who was a Gordon Parks fellow, Dan's homeboy, who taught me, we don't say capture photos. We say we make photos. Oh. Yeah, so we make photos, right? Because capturing is another form of surveillance, right? And extraction. And that's not what we're doing with our photos. We're not there as spectators, right? We're not there as spectators just taking photos of girls. We're making photos, making memories.
Yes.
I argue that our photography is an engaged pedagogy. It is community care. It is for those who care, right? And so it is a way for us to celebrate Black girls' aesthetics, right? And their everyday inventiveness. And so we show out, and that's why we have the free giveaways. So I wanted to point to this around me. Lakeisha, because I just love her down so much. She was like, we should pay the girls.
We gotta pay them.
We gotta pay the girls. And she said we should pay them $100. And Lakeisha put out a call for girls to
wanted to work
with us. We'll give them a camera. They'll get some skills in photography. And how many people responded to that call?
Oh my God, over like 180 people responded. And this was, what did we put out, a week before? A week before we put the call out, 180 girls. And we could only hire 11. And we expanded that because we were only going to hire, I think we only needed 8 initially. But we wound up only being able to support 11 girls.
So that demonstrated the need, right? Like, yeah. And I've had so many friends, Jelani, that just support and love the project. This is the need, right? Like we see, because at the Bud, I've always made the argument that I felt like the Bud was our Black Lollapalooza, right? Like it's where our young people come to get a sense of freedom. Now, the argument, right, is like, of course, with good reason, because they be out there YNing, okay? Like it get real crazy at the Bud after 1 o'clock. It gets, especially on 47, it gets wild. There's a lot of police surveillance. The police instigates. And so
you got people, and you got young people that's just no direction coming just because it's a date.
It's a date. It's that mob activity, right? Like I'm with my people with gang. Like if I told you
saw
on site.
Oh my God. And they also trying to get shows. So you got girls out there twerking on top of cars. Shout out to my baby.
It's up at the Bud.
Right.
So holding contradiction. The Bud is a beautiful Black space. It is reflective of the long history, vibrance of Bronxville, and it gets ratchet out there.
And it's opportunity for more community connection because it's too much disconnectedness. It's too much those who have achieved and are in certain circles. So they're on the floats and things.
They hit Martha Vineyards at the end of
they leaving right after to go sip on some champagne or start at the morning with mimosas. And then there are those who are getting off that red line, getting off that green line, and they coming to see who outside and what's up. And there's a disconnect between them. There are schools are not in session at the time. So there are many young people who have not had opportunity or exposure all summer long. They've not had any real direction all summer long. So they outside. This is the day. So you got the police ready, bust like a kettle. It's a lot.
It's our call to action. Because the candy ladies is outside at the Bud.
Yes, they are.
The candy ladies is outside at the Bud.
They got hot dogs, ribs, and candy.
Yeah. So this is our call to action.
Yes.
And we're working on a project, and we invite folks to be a part of our project. Jelani Hannah, who is a quantum physics, is part of the me and Lakeisha's purpose. Yes. We are calling violence intervention folks, social workers, therapists, folks who love young people, because here's what's happening. We demonize the Bud.
Yep.
We say we see the fights on social media, and we say, "Whoa, I'm not going to the Bud." But that's what happens to Black kids all the time, right? We leave them.
Yep.
So if we're leaving them, if we only on 55th at Martha's Vineyard passing out big checks, no shade, but I'm just saying the facts. and we are not engaging them alongside the parade,
Yep.
not against the parade,
not
not
outside.
taking away, but alongside. We want to encourage folks to come out, come to the Chicago Street Portraits,
Fill in the gap.
fill in the gaps. Do not run away, because you see a young boy with a mask on. A lot of times he has that mask on not because he's going to harm you. A lot of that is just insecurity, right? He don't want to be seen,
Yep.
right? And if they fighting, you don't want somebody to see you and roll up on you, right? So it's an act of safety and protection. And so
And also vulnerability. A lot of these kids are dealing with a whole bunch of depression and anxiety and a whole bunch of other things. You see celebrities a lot wear these dark shades, right? And nobody don't be like, why they got on shades? Take your shades off. It's a level of protection and safety that keeps them keeps them feeling safe. Not to say anybody's gonna harm them, but it's just like a blanket almost.
Agree. So that is a collective project that we're working on, and we are inviting folks to be a part of. Pull up at the Bud. Please don't red tape us. We really out there with the people, for the people.
Yep.
And we're not spectators. We're not, I invite photographers to come make photos with us, to see girls, to see them, to learn from them, to learn to affirm them and be with them. It is a good grand time. And so the next
feel good.
It's so good. It's so dope. So the next project, Des and I'm not gonna give you our recipes, but Des and I got some stuff coming out on the pipeline. So it's always Melttt Magazine.
And Des is Chicago girls.
Chicago's do it better. Girls do it better. We all we got. He was part of the Fat Tiger Collective. And so that's Des' work. But I have Melttt Magazine. It'll always be Melttt Magazine. My students at Michigan State did Real Thugs Cry. So as a part of Melttt Magazine is still going on. I do public installations, such as the tribute to the Candy Lady where we built the house. And our beloved ongoing community-centered Bud Billiken celebration will always be the Chicago Street Portrait Series. Black girls are the inspiration. And then Lakeisha and I got some stuff.
We ain't telling them nothing.
We ain't giving these recipes, but
I don't. Well, listen, you talked about all the work you're doing now. You talked about little Sheri, Dr. Sheri, tenured, Dr. Sheri, right, like Dr. Sheri tenured, Dr. Sheri post-tenure, approaching retirement.
Manifest.
What is Dr. Sheri tenured, approaching retirement? What has she accomplished that makes her that makes little Sheri most proud?
Absolutely. Several books, several photography books.
Come on, that's the easy fix.
Articles. Lakeisha and Sheri put together whatever we getting ready. I ain't gonna say put together. That is so grand, so fulfilling. I'm talking about we cracked the universe with it.
Yes.
Chicago Street Portraits continue to grow and have evolved, and we have more immersive activities happen alongside the Bud. We got all the people who young people love being Black out there supporting us.
Yes.
And the MCA giving me a call, like, what's the that's a dream of mine, is to be in the Museum of Contemporary Art and the DuSable Museum. I would love to be in the DuSable. So DuSable Museum hit me up too. My dream is to have exhibitions in the museum, to have the girls that have been part of the project, they're photographers or graphic designers. They're continuing to tell their stories. More Black girls seeing themselves as professors.
Ooh, that's thinking. We need you in the National Museum of African American History.
Period.
We
Manifest.
need you over there in the Obama Library. Okay, we need. Okay, we
Yes,
need
so the
to
work is
every-
everywhere. The
Yes.
DeSabi Museum, the Southside Community Arts Center.
Yes.
I would love to do
Globally.
global, all over.
Yes.
Paris. We
Paris.
take the girls to Paris to
Yes.
see arts and culture. We do more study abroad.
So Senegal.
That's my dream, right? My dream is to be honest, I'm living my dream. I'm so blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
So blessed.
And you absolutely look blessed. You absolutely are glowing. Cause you was a little stressed over the summer. That Bud Billiken. The thing about Sheri, she has such passion, and you can tell like she pours her all into every one of those projects that she talks about. She like breathes it. And you know, a lot of people do stuff because they waiting to see for somebody else to see it. Sheri does it just anticipating how the girls will experience it. And it's such a yeah, I think that I've learned so much from you. You inspire me. I told you, I was like, okay, yes. I was so happy to meet her because first of all, again, low end representation. We have somebody from Chicago. And just to see you hold spaces that you hold with the authority that you do and unapologetically, you know, a lot of us, we get into rooms and this is where respectability can often be a weapon versus a tool is we get into these rooms and we swallow ourselves. We clip our language and we conform versus, as you said, just a space to be who you are. And you always show up as who you are. And it's like, I love it. It's so freeing. It gives me permission to be free. And so I thank you. I thank you for spending the time. And of all of those things you mentioned about the future Dr. Sheri, I am going to do my best to ensure that you are connected with the opportunities and with the people who can make those a reality for you.
I love you.
I love you so much. Thank you.
And I just gotta say, when y'all see Lakeisha, say when you and Sheri article coming out.
When y'all gonna get that paper done?
When y'all getting that paper done? That's all we
Yes.
just say. When y'all getting that paper done? And this paper about to be.
Well, I'm telling y'all not gonna have to ask that because it's about to get done. It really is. I'm so honored for her. Please follow her at Melttt Mag Shy. Is that right?
Melttt Mag Shy. You can
On Instagram.
And then the website is Melttt Magazine.
MelttMagazineShy.com. We gonna look it up because we're gonna make sure. I'll put it in the notes. I'll put it in notes. Also, they can get a copy of the magazine, the digital copy.
I will send them. I will send it to them. I can give them copies. They just can DM me. I can give them copies of the magazine. Also, if you are going to college and you want to be in a space that honors, celebrates, and privileges your creativity, your mind, your spirit, your heart, come to the African American and African Studies Department at Michigan State University.
Yes.
Hit me up. Go to our website. It's AAS.msu.edu. We'll put that in the notes, but it's 3AS.msu.edu. Look up our website. Our website is so dope. We have some of the most incredible scholars in our department. And I would say we are the best Black Studies department in the world, Fred. The world. Yes, right. When you see the balloons, right? We are the best. And we focus on Black sexualities, Black feminisms, Black genders, Black girlhood, Black liberation, Black possibilities.
Yes.
We see you as a technology of living. Shout out to Tony K, who gave us this language. And don't worry about how you're going to make money from your degree because you're going to be denied. You're going, we honor your whole self.
Yes.
Know that the money will come.
Yes.
And so, and we're going to help you get to the bag. But before the bag, we're going to make sure you are well.
Thank you. Oh.
And that you belong and that your spirit is intact.
Oh, child.
So come to Michigan State to get your life, change your life, be evolved. And we are a space. Well, I ain't gonna say that because I don't want to.
You don't want to say it. But listen, I can tell you what you just said. How about you didn't even know Essence McDowell, who will be on later. We recorded her episode the other day, and guess what she quoted, and guess what we talked about?
What?
Tony K. Bambera, and we talked about being well, and I'm about to cry because.
Are you sure you want to be
Are
well,
you sure
sweetheart?
you want to be well? Do you want to be well? Are you sure?
Because wellness ain't no wholeness ain't no trifling matter.
Ain't a trifling matter. And we talked about that. We quoted that, and the thing is, so many of us. You have doctors, and I get chills.
It's a lot of weight when you well.
We got doctors, we got attorneys, we got people running for Congress, we got people running for senators, we got people educating professors, principals, and many of them are not well. Many of them are pouring into and have jurisdiction over our lives and have jurisdiction over girls' lives, and they are not well. And so when you talk about like what you want to major in and how much people want to talk about how much money you will make and go to school so you can make a lot of money. And we sending these babies off to school to commit suicide. We're sending them off to not feel as if they belong. They dropping out, coming back home, or they just going into the pipeline and they are miserable because we've led them to believe that it's about chasing a dollar versus being well. So yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you for seeing me.
Absolutely.
I love the way a Black girl is supposed to be seen. This is my first
so
podcast.
What? And y'all sleeping at this your first podcast. Girl, stop playing. Okay. We ain't said that. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all just met Dr. Sheri Lewis. She is amazing. Oh, I cannot wait, y'all. We're gonna have so much work that's coming that is for all of us. And it's because she's so dope and she leading the way. And I'm like, just show me what to do, child, because I have no clue. But thank y'all so much. Tune in. You'll find all of the notes, where to find everything, Dr. Sheri's work, the work of the women who are part of Michigan State University's African American Studies program. You'll find all their work as well. Because when we do this, we don't just do it by ourselves. We want to make sure that we are inclusive of everybody, and especially I just love you all's dynamic, connected. Because when you was like, oh, it's well, it was like, who said that? And then Dr. Luke was like, Dr. Sheri up there, she from Chicago too. Me too. So
Shout out, I was gonna say, shout out to Dr. Ruth Nicole Brown. If you are doing Black Girlhood Studies work, you need to know her work.
Yeah.
She is, I will argue, is the pinnacle. She sets the foundation for an emerging field that has expanded and blossomed so beautifully. Although I do got some critiques for the girls. We don't have to talk Black girlhood scholars. We don't have to be in conversation. But if you are interested in Black girlhood studies, what is it? What is it about? I would say start with Ruth Nicole Brown. Aria Holiday edited the Black Girlhood Studies collection. It's a lot of good chapters in there. I have a chapter on Melttt magazine as a methodology. So if you want to learn more, so I would say if you like, how can I get what is some sort of introductory text? Just Google Ruth Nicole Brown. We have the celebration of Black girlhood and creative potential. And then my chapter is in Black Girlhood Studies collection, edited by Aria Holiday. And then look up the women in African American African Studies department as well.
All right, y'all, that's it. Peace out. We'll see you at the next episode. Stay tuned, and as always, move beyond those blocks that are blocking your shining light. Move beyond the block of those that are holding you captive, that will not allow you to grow, and move beyond the block where you are competing versus collaborating.